I chose this video to show everyone some of the dangers involved in lifting vehicles. Obviously, the proper lift procedures were not followed when this vehicle was lifted. Uh, Probably the biggest mistake that was made here so far is that the proper lift capacities were not checked and compared to the vehicle weight. If you look through the video here where the mouse is pointing, you can see the upright on the far side of this lift is not necessarily upright anymore. It's leaning over probably 20 to 30 degrees from where it should normally be positioned. It looks as though as the lift began to topple, someone had the wherewithal to throw a transmission jack underneath the front of the vehicle, or perhaps the transmission jack was already there. However, as you can see, the total weight of the front end of this vehicle is sitting on that jack. The weight of this vehicle is somewhere probably around 8,000 pounds. It could be up even 9,000 pounds if it has the Ford Power Stroke in there. That Power Stroke is a diesel engine, and it's much heavier than any gas engine that they put in their vehicles. But at any rate, as you see the lift post here, is evidence that the truck was too heavy for the weighting of the lift, or for the rating of the lift. Now, I don't have to tell you guys this is an extremely dangerous situation, and the last thing you want to have going on here is a customer or a bystander who is not trained in the proper safety procedures of using a lift or in the safety procedures of a shop. It looks as though the owner of this vehicle is kind of impressed with what's going on. And I can tell you, if this was my vehicle, I'd be very, very worried, and I'd be worried for the safety of the folks in the shop. There's no way, if this were my shop, that I'd let the customer in that close to the vehicle. Furthermore, there is no way I would be operating that transmission jack in that manner. That jack could shift at any time. The weight of that truck could shift at any time. And that whole 8,000 pounds of that truck could be on that technician in a matter of milliseconds. This is a very dangerous situation. They're attempting to lower the front end of the vehicle down to the ground. They have a rollback wrecker under the rear of the vehicle, which has it safely resting on the rollback. However, the front of the vehicle is still on that transmission jack, and if you notice, there's not enough clearance for the wrecker to pull the vehicle out and onto the bed. That's a good picture right there of how the lift was damaged. Now also, I want you to pay particularly close attention to where the cable's connected to this truck. Typically on most trucks, cars for that matter, bumpers are bolted onto the vehicle. They're not a secure portion of the vehicle, and they have that total weight of that vehicle hanging on that cable, where it looks to me as though they're going to try to pull that vehicle up onto the wrecker by the bumper. The whole situation is dangerous, and they've gone about this probably the only way they could, but it's still unsafe. However, I think that frame-mounted trailer hitch right here would be a much stronger location for this cable if this is the way they're going to have to get this vehicle out of here. Now, it looks like they have the rear of the vehicle lowered. I think the front of the vehicle is still up. However, the back of the vehicle is too far to the left side of the truck to pull it up onto the flatbed. So what this gentleman's going to do is he's going to run that cable through the side of the bed and kind of give it a fulcrum to pull off of, and try to straighten that truck up so they can get it up onto the bed. Now, speaking of bystanders, as he begins to winch on that truck, look where that bystander's standing. Oh, they just told him, you'd better stand back, because if that cable breaks, it's going to cause a severe injury. And they're right, that would be dangerous. Okay, so it looks like they got the rear of the vehicle onto the rollback squarely so that they can pull the vehicle up, but now they have the job of getting the transmission jack out from under the front. And if you pay particularly close attention, you can see they're doing something really, really dangerous here. They've got a very tall floor jack. 2 or 3 guys standing there we don't need. This is a one-man job. And they have, it looks like, wooden blocks on top of the floor jack in order to raise this 8,000 plus pound truck up off the front of this transmission jack. As you can see, in their attempt to get the front end of this vehicle down, they've decided to go ahead and use one half of the lift that is damaged. The lift itself is damaged. However, this side appears to be in good condition. However, both sides of those lifts are tied together with cables and electrical connections, so I'm not sure how safe this is. And it looks like they might actually be able to get this vehicle down without causing too much serious damage to the truck or personal injury, hopefully. Although we're not quite there yet. Those blocks of wood on top of that jack do not look stable at all. Well, it looks like they got it jacked up just high enough to sneak that transmission jack out from underneath. And if they lower it down gently, they may get the rubber on the ground before the rest of the vehicle falls off. So as they lower the vehicle down the rest of the way, let's think about this for a minute. Probably the first mistake that was made was that the lift capacity was not referenced to the vehicle. That vehicle is way too heavy for that light-duty lift. That was the first mistake. The second mistake was having too many people around. Once the accident happened, we want to keep as few people in that area as possible. Certainly no customers, certainly no bystanders. Only the wrecker crew and the technician that are working diligently to get this vehicle off the lift. I guarantee you everyone in that shop just breathed a huge sigh of relief when those front tires hit the ground safely. It looks to me like there were no serious bodily injuries. That's the most important thing. And the truck, it's seen better days, but it's not in horrible condition. Those dents can be repaired, and that truck can still be serviceable. It didn't look like there was any structural damage. So a huge disaster was averted. Luckily, no one was injured. Luckily, no one was killed. And I got to tell you, this would be a really, really bad day in any shop.